paid for.
Welcome to Jets Rewind. This is Marty Shupak. I'm in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by Ray Clifford, who is in Marysville, Ohio, and Ralph Schrager, who is orbiting the planet Saturn right now as we talk. I just wanted to start the show quickly that everyone at Jets Rewind wants to extend their condolences to the family of Greg Knapp, who died tragically on a bicycle. And for the staff of Jets Rewind, it even means more because we were touched by someone we knew, which I won't go into detail, who passed away the exact same way. So I just want to extend condolences. And I don't know, Ralph and Ray, if you want to add to that at all.
No, I echo everything you said.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, welcome. And what a terrific day, guys, as the Jets signed our #1 draft pick. And Ralph, Ray's a witness. I had called it because I said they got to sign him by Saturday because they sold out the first open practice. And
Are you going?
No, I got shut out and I'm not going. I tried to get on. I said, I could have gotten another one, but you know, I'm one of those guys, if I don't get something on the computer within 10 minutes, I just give up. You know,
10 minutes, that's more than I'll give.
Yeah. All right, Ralph, if you turn it up a little bit, I think that might help out. But anyway, Ralph, you have a classic trivia.
Well, I guess it's classic. Okay. We all know who the last Jet to be an All-Pro was, right? Well, on 3.
Adams.
Adams, yeah.
Jamal Adams.
2019. Who was the last one before Jamal Adams to make the All-Pro team? Not the Pro Bowl, be an All-Pro.
That's a very good question. And I only have one possibility, and I don't know if he made the All-Pro, but I'm going to write it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
I could be wrong. Okay, let's. We mentioned Greg Knapp. Ralph, you wanted to start talking about that. I mean, he was the passing coordinator. So I guess the question is just how important is his position? And I know he'll be missed, but by how much? And is it usually significant in the progression of Zach Wilson?
You know, there are so many more coaches, assistant coaches now. They have you have the offensive coordinator, you have the passing game, which was Greg Knapp, the quarterback coach, which is Rob Calabrese. I imagine he'll sort of take over. But I heard that Greg Knapp was really just working with Zach Wilson for the most part, and the other quarterbacks. It's really a shame. I think he added something as far as his experience goes that I don't think the other guys really have. You know, I think they'll move on and he'll be okay. But it would have been great for him to be around. I think that would have helped.
Yeah. Ray, you have any thoughts? I want to ask you, Ray, we might have discussed this because I was looking at his resume. And was he at Denver with Adam Gase?
Yeah.
He was there, yeah, when they won the Super Bowl, the terrible Super Bowl.
So what was his position? Because Adam Gase was the quarterback's coach.
Oh, Adam Gase is the offensive coordinator, I think, wasn't he?
Oh, he was the offensive coordinator.
I thought.
All right. So do you know what Knapp's position was? Because I heard him say that was his best year he ever had, his most satisfying year. Did he have the same position, Ray?
I think it was the same or a similar position as what he.
You know, was Gase. Gase was there when Manning threw 55 touchdowns and they got killed by Seattle. But was Gase there for Manning's
the next year?
For the second one? I don't know. I think maybe he wasn't.
Maybe not.
I'm not sure, but I'm sure. Like most NFL coaches, it sounded like they crossed paths somewhere. And anyway, I don't know. That was just something that came to mind. But, you know, I put something in there. Well, let's talk about Zach Wilson. Okay. How excited are you guys that he's there? And moving forward, I mean, just so you know, I've been reading tweets the last 2 days, and I got to tell you, Connor Hughes is moving up the food chain. That guy's terrific. He's very.
I like him a lot. He's one of my favorite reporters. He just kind of tells it like it is, and I just like that he seems like he's pretty straightforward, and I like that.
Yeah, he is. He is. And it sounded like Captain Morgan, James Morgan, it doesn't sound like he's NFL material. James White possibly is, but, and I told Ray today.
Mike White, isn't it?
Was it Mike White?
Yeah, it's not James. I know
Okay,
they're
Mike
both-
White. Yeah, okay, Mike White.
Mike White used to coach Cal, yeah.
Kind of used that sent a tweet that James Morgan missed Cole open over the middle, and he overthrew him by like 10 to 15 yards. And one of the things I want to mention too is that it was so important to bring him in, and I knew it wasn't going to drag out because the Jets are such a young team. It not only helps the development of the quarterback, Ralph, but it helps the development of the wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't even interested in reading the updates until he got there, because there's so much of the training camp is about the passing game, and it was kind of irrelevant if he's not there. These other two guys are just placeholders. So I'm totally psyched. I'm not quite sure on the timeline whether he's going to be actually playing tomorrow. Or do they have?
He'll be practicing tomorrow.
They don't go out in full pads till Monday.
Okay.
They'll be out tomorrow in shorts and I guess shoulder pads. They'll be there Saturday. I believe it's the same thing when they have that open practice at Forum Park. And then Monday, I guess they have hitting. But as Ray could verify, Ray, you might know better than me. I'm guessing it's just now they all do limited hitting. It's not like the old days. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to let them go full bore unless they're. I think that's all basically. Just they save that for the games and for the inter squad practices where they can hit. But they definitely aren't going to do much hitting here.
Right.
Early on. I mean, it's just not worth the chance of something happening.
Right. I don't.
I wasn't. I would have been a lot more concerned if it was last year when there were no exhibition games. They weren't going to have these joint practices, but there's a lot that's going to come in this preseason. So there's plenty of time for him to be ready for the first game of the season.
And Ralph, you wrote, I believe, that Darnold missed 3 practices, right? And he missed.
Yeah, so he beat him by 1. So once again,
okay,
he made the right choice.
I had skipped over. I'm sure everybody is sick of it, though. But with the contract, it was the offsets and it was the signing bonus. The Jets wanted to defer.
Right.
And apparently, 2 teams in the NFL have no offsets, and one is the Rams and one is the Jaguars. Interestingly, Joe Burrow, who does have an offset, he and Zach Wilson have the same agent or agency. So I thought that was interesting. And it sounded to me like the Jets were playing hardball with the signing bonus, knowing that they were going to give into it that way.
Yeah, you could see where that was going. They want to keep the offset because I think just for future contracts for other players. I don't think they're worried about it with Wilson.
Yeah, it is for future number 1 picks. Ray, what did you get from all this? I know, Ralph, I got all these texts from Ray. I mean, he was the most miserable Jet fan you ever saw.
I don't know about that. I read some real bile on some of these sites that were.
I would,
Wilson's the worst. He's a loser. The Jets are the same old Jet. It was just going on and on. Jet fans are crazy.
They are, but if they were blaming Wilson for this, I was blaming Woody, although I was ready to kill him on this show because I was like, if he's going to play around with this, it's going to be ugly in 4 years when they've got to renegotiate because he'll remember that. But
I don't think that's going to matter, Ray. I
don't think it will now, but if it had dragged out, I think it would. If it was going to get uglier.
But these things always happen, and they never really drag out anymore.
Jets are the only team that has had a guy hold out for the offset language.
But I want to
It
ask
doesn't
you,
always happen.
What did Joey Bosa hold out for? He has the same agent as Wilson. When Joey Bosa, he was gone for quite a while.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not sure what it was. I don't think it was the offset though.
could-
It might have been about the guarantee though.
I want to ask you both a question. They have the slotted salary. Part of the
It wasn't
reason,
about the salary.
no, just listen. Part of the reason is because they want to pay the veterans more money,
Right.
and they want to get the rookies in there quicker. All
Right.
right. If they have slotted salaries, why don't the NFL teams negotiate with the union to have like a standard rookie contract, and either they have the offsets or they don't have the offsets?
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, it doesn't make sense that every team, could be a little different. What's your take on that, Ray?
Well, maybe they have tried for it. I mean, everything's negotiable when they do their their union negotiating, and the players union, who knows, they may have asked for that type of thing before, but if the union won't take it, it usually get negotiated out if they do. But
Yeah.
my frustration is just that we were screwing around over, don't get me wrong, I realize it's millions of dollars, but in their stratosphere, it's like pocket change. I mean, they're screwing around over, does he get this money now or later? And every other team around them paid their guys already. So
Well, my hunch is that they knew all along they were going to give them the money up front, but they were going to use that as a leverage to get the offset.
that's what they did with Sam. So I figure that's their.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And also, I think that Joe Douglas, in his first 2 years, is kind of making a statement about, if you're going to play great and if we love you, we're going to do everything we can for you. But with that said, I still represent the owner, the New York Jets. So I'm going to do what's best for the organization. So, he's making a statement, and I think the way he's working, it's a good idea. And to me, it looks like he's thinking years ahead, which hopefully he'll still be here and the Jets will be winning. All right. Very quickly, I want to throw in, before we get to the next item, Marty's quick trivia, which we touched upon once, but within three, okay, here's the question. How many career interceptions did Eric McMillan have? And he played in 5+ years, a little more than 5 years. He started 52 games. Ray, you want to take a crack? You got to come up within three numbers. How many career interceptions?
16.
Ralph?
I'll say 21.
Ralph, very good. He had 22. And I think that's outstanding. And
That is outstanding.
a little more than 5 years, and he returned 5 for touchdowns, which I think
Which is the most of any Jet in history.
All right, and very quickly, and Ralph had said, I remember one show how similar they were. The same question for Darrell Ray. He played from 1980 to 84. He started 69 games. How many interceptions did he have? He was a safety, Ralph?
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll go a little lower, maybe 17.
Okay. Ray?
I'll stay right around 16 again.
22.
Wow. They both did.
If you look at the stats, those guys, I mean,
They were very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. And he returned 3 for touchdowns. But what I was going to say is, Ray and Ralph, those defensive backs, they intercepted. The Jets, like for the last 2 decades, they don't intercept anything.
Well, later we might, if we get to it, we're going to talk about Darrelle Revis and whether he should be in the Hall of Fame or not. And I can tell you right now, if he does go to the Hall of Fame, and I did a lot of research, he might be the cornerback with the least amount of interceptions of anyone in the Hall of Fame. I mean, most of them have 40, 50, and 60. He had like 29 or something like that. Now, part of that was because he didn't play that much and also didn't throw it his way. But yeah, that's the thing about Marcus May. Now, he's a free safety. How many picks has he had in his career? Like 6 in 4 years? That's terrible. I mean, I want Ed Reed type player on my team, a real ball hawk.
I want those guys too. Let's get right into the Darrelle Revis while we touched upon it. Ray, what's your feeling about him making the Hall of Fame?
I think he's a sure thing. I mean, maybe not first ballot, but I think he's a sure thing at some point. He was just too dominant for those 3, 4, 5 years where he was the prototypical shutdown corner for a while there, where they literally wouldn't throw his way. And the only other one I heard about that before him was Dion was the only one that I could think of before him that they literally wouldn't throw towards him. And he wasn't the fastest guy, but he just had a way of shadowing the guy and
He studied film a lot on these guys, I mean, that was a strength of his. He really worked at his craft.
Yeah.
Ralph, do you know how many career interceptions Deion Sanders had?
No, I don't. I don't know how many big years he had either. Because I looked at a lot of cornerbacks. The thing about Revis, there's no question when he was at his best, which was those maybe 4 years, 5 years tops, he was a Hall of Famer. But
he had 53, by the way.
53, Deion. He also was a great punt returner.
Terrific.
But he couldn't tackle. Revis could. But
yes.
The only question with Revis is did he do it long enough? Because I look at all these other cornerbacks and man, most of them were like 10, 12, 14 years. And he had really he had a good year in New England too.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You know what I think wrapped it up for him?
Yeah, I think that year.
I think the Super Bowl year, Ray. And though he had a good year, I don't think he had a good Super Bowl.
No, he didn't.
Nobody did. Well, there was a lot.
They should have lost the game.
So my vote is I think he gets in though.
I like what Ray said. Maybe not first ballot, but yeah, he probably will get in. For personally, I think Joe Klecko, I prefer to get in before him.
Right.
Please.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I want you guys, we're all going to rank the 3 most important positions to watch in training camp and exhibition games. And hopefully I didn't leave something out.
Is it important or interesting? I forgot what you put down.
I put interesting.
Okay.
Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, offensive line, defensive back, defensive line, linebacker, and safety. Do it in the order, the third most important to you, or interesting, second most interesting, and first most. Ralph, why don't you go first so Ray and I can think?
So you're saying third first. Most interesting. Well, I would say third would be a defensive line. Second would be wide receiver and first cornerback.
Okay. All right, Ray.
Mine's going to be pretty much like chalk, I guess you'd call it nowadays. I think first is going to be DBs, or excuse me, third is going to be DBs. Second will be running back. First will be quarterback, because we don't have anybody to challenge Zach. So we're all in on that. It's either going to be, we're good for years, or, if it's a disaster, we haven't got anybody to fall back to right now. So that to me is interesting.
Right. Okay. I'm close to you, Ray. I'm going to say, to me, the third most interesting is quarterback.
Second, did you say quarter or corner?
Corner. Corner defense. Second is wide receiver. And for some reason, I'm just fascinated with the running back. I really want to see what happens with the running back. The 2 most interesting players to me, and again, if I put Zach Wilson aside, are Michael Carter and also the wide receiver Elijah Moore. But I'm just fascinated with the running backs. I want to see how this offensive line gels. And I know we're going to talk about it in a minute, Ralph. But Ray and I, I think 1 or 2 shows ago, and I want to ask you, Ralph, we were trying to figure out who do you think is going to be the starting right guard for the Jets?
I think Greg Van Roten or Roten probably at this point would be my pick. But, I hear that I don't know if Morgan Moses can play guard, because they're talking up George Fant, even though he's out for 10 days with a positive COVID. But I'm wondering if they could put both those guys. And I know Fant probably is not built to be an interior lineman, but Moses is huge. He's like 6'6", 330. I
Yeah,
don't know. Do you think that's too big to be?
yeah. I don't think he could play
Yeah.
guard.
I'm gonna go with Van Roten.
Yeah, I think Ray said the same thing, and I did, and I went with Alex Lewis. The reason being, the guy was so undisciplined with Adam Gase. Combination, I think this guy is going to coach him up. Number one, number two, they got him to reduce to a 1-year contract. I love when players play a 1-year contract. And I told Ray last year, whenever the Jets had a 3rd or 4th and 1, and they went for like off tackle or over the guard, he got smoked. I think like 2 or 3 times. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't stand the guy. Though I keep hearing that on the other shows, he had a pretty good PFF passer rating, but that doesn't mean a lot to me. So I'm going to say it's going to be Alex Lewis. Okay. All right, Ralph, we're going to try to let's discuss now who you think is going to be the best offensive lineman. But before we do that, yes or no, does Cameron Clark make the 53 or 54-man roster? Ray?
That's a coin flip right now. I would say right now I'm leaning at no.
Okay.
I just think that I don't know if he's shown enough, but you know, this camp is going to tell us a lot of those kind of questions because, you know, is he practicing with the second team? Is he, you know, filling in all over the place? Is he, you know, because the one depth chart had him listed as like the 3rd or 4th left tackle, and that's the last place I thought he'd actually end up if he does play. So I'd say at this point, he's going to have a really good camp to make it.
Ralph, what's
No,
your?
I don't think he's going to make the team. I guess he could probably be on the practice squad. Isn't he still eligible for that?
It's a second year. He probably is, but
yeah. I mean, they brought in Feeney.
Yeah.
They have Lewis. They have Van Roten. They brought in AVT.
They
How
brought in
about the guy from USC we had last?
Moses. Yeah, Adoge. There's another guy who I don't think is going to make.
You don't think Adoga will?
I
think he'll make the team.
Well, I don't think both of them. There's no way both of them.
Well, wait, is this Adoga's, what year is this, his 3rd year?
3rd, I believe.
At least, yeah.
You see, I'll be honest, if it comes to Adoga or Clark, I think it makes a big difference to Joe Douglas because he drafted Clark. If he sees anything.
He did draft Clark, and we haven't seen Clark where we've seen Adoge and we know his limitations. So it's almost an advantage the less you see of a guy. But of course, they see him in practice. There's, you know, they could pick up someone who gets cut eventually too. So I'm gonna guess no on Clark, and if I had to guess on Adoge, I don't think he'll make it either.
Wow. I'm going to say no on Clark, and I still have a question mark on Adoga. Ralph, we're going to get into the offensive line in just a second.
That's all right. We got plenty of time.
I just want to ask you, and I think Ray, we touched on it, but Ralph, the running back situation, which I am fascinated with Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, Michael Carter, Michael Pirine, and Josh Adams. And again, we don't know. It doesn't look like they'll keep 5, though there's an outside shot. Out of those 5, forget about who starts and doesn't start. Who do you think gets the most touches in 2021?
I'll tell you the top 3 I think that'll get the top 3 touches are Carter, Coleman, and Johnson. And of those 3, I think by the end of the year, I'll go with Carter.
Okay, that's what I think. What did you say, Ray? When we
the top 1, I would agree. By the end of the year, I think it'll be Carter too. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to give Michael Pirine a little chance to prove himself or not, but because of those other three, they all seem to be almost similar type. So somebody's got to be more the pile mover inside guy. So I think P. Ryan has a shot. I like Adams, but I think he's the odd man out.
Okay, if you're Joe Douglas, Ray, that's what I was going to ask you. Who would you keep, the Michael P. Ryan or Josh Adams, if they had to only keep 4?
Right now, I'd have to say P. Ryan. I like Adams a lot, though, but I think Adams will be the one out.
Okay, and Ralph, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, he's a 4th round pick from last year. That draft could easily go south if Ashton Davis doesn't come around, if Zuniga, and if Morgan's a disaster. So I think he'd keep P. Ryan, and I still think P. Ryan has, he's a good receiver. He and Adams are probably the most physical, I'd say, of those 5 running backs for inside, but I'd have to go with P. Ryan over Adams. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right, Ralph, your question was, who would be the Jets' best offensive lineman this year and best wide receiver? Which is a good question. So I'm going to start out. But before we do that, quick question to you, Ralph. I asked Ray, do you think the Jets signed a 50-year option right now if Gunty had Mekhi Becton?
Say that again?
Mekhi Becton, you think he makes it to a 50-year option?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know you're so skeptical about it. I mean, the guy looks like Charles Atlas now.
Well, let's see what happens.
Actually, he got beaten 3 times.
Carl Lawson went around him like I used to go around you, Ralph.
Yeah, but the day before, he ate up Lawson. So that's a nice competition. I think it's going to help him tremendously.
Let's see what happens. I don't know if he can keep away from the buffet. All right. Anyway.
He's just jealous because he can pack it in and he doesn't gain it. You can't tell it he gained the weight.
Best offensive lineman. I'm going to go first. And this is going to be a surprise. You ready? I'm going to say it's going to be Conor McGovern.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
And I'm saying that because 2 years ago in Denver, that guy graded out really tremendously. This past year he didn't. But if you watch the film closely, a lot of times he was backing up, trying to pick up guys that other guys missed, like Van Routen and Alex Lewis. I think he's talented. I think from what I hear, this is some sort of zone scheme that he's perfect for as we enter the 4th quarter, guys. But anyway, I think he has a bounce back year, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Conor McGovern, our starting center. Go ahead, Ralph.
Conor McGovern was in the conversation for me. I do think he's gonna have a good year too. I really do. He did come on at the end of the year. I'm gonna go with Elijah Vera Tucker. I've watched film of this guy. His technique and balance. He is so sound fundamentally. It's not a knock against Becton, who I think will have a very good year. But I think this guy, people who are bitching about the fact that they gave up 2 third-round picks for him, I think they will change
I think it was a great move
with this guy.
I thought that was the best move they made of the draft.
Yes.
Well, considering that they would have used one of those for Michael Carter,
Right.
no question about it.
Yeah.
They got him anyway, so it was a real coup.
And it's unbelievable because the other so-called analytics or experts were giving him a hard time they said they gave up too much. I don't buy that at all. I think if you like someone, you got to go get him.
I don't know. I mean, if he turns into what we think he is and what he looks like, I don't know how you give up too much for a lineman.
Right. And when I say if you like someone, you go get him. I'm not a huge Gettleman fan of the Giants, general manager, but I was one guy that stuck up for him for taking Daniel Jones. Because everyone was saying they should wait for him for a second pick. But I say if you like someone, if your staff says he's the guy, then you go after him, you get him. Okay.
As long as you don't have to sell the ranch.
Right.
I don't think 2/3 was that bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It would have been fun to have him.
Wide receiver. Who's going to be the best wide receiver? Ray, why don't you start with that?
Okay. Well, first I'll give you my lineman. I'm going to go.
I
think Vera Tucker. I'm going to be the anti-Marty. I think Vera Tucker's going to make Becton even better than he was as a rookie, and I think he'll have I think that whole side of the line is going to be just outstanding from the middle on out on that side. And I think.
By the way, Ray, before we get to Ralph's trivia question in a few minutes, add one more thing that has to do with Becton, but okay, go ahead. So I'm sorry I interrupted. So you think Becton?
It's okay. I think it'll be Becton as far as that. Now, same thing with wide receiver, you want to know?
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Elijah Moore. I mean, I know he's not going to be the, like the Mims or the Corey Davis, but I think as a receiver, he could make everything so much better about this receiving core.
Do you think he's going to be their top receiver at the end? By the end
Numbers wise,
yeah.
No, but I think he's going to be the guy who changes how defenses play us, and I think it's gonna help the other guys stretch the field. And if they do that, he's going to be all over the place. Him and Barrios might both have really good years.
Okay, Ralph, you go.
Boy, this is a tough one. But I think numbers wise, I'll go with Corey Davis. But I think excitement wise, yeah, I think Ray is right. Elijah Moore is going to be a lot of fun, and I think by the end of the year he will be their most dangerous weapon.
Yeah.
I actually have a tie. I know it's not part of the game, but I'm gonna Ray laughs at me because I always take the easy way out.
He's a cheater.
I'm going to say though Elijah Moore, but I'm also going to say Denzel Mims. I think he's going to make some catches in the second or third game, and they're just going to wow the staff. Because Ralph, one thing you told me a few weeks ago that you looked at his highlights. Not only did I look at his highlights, I re-looked at his college highlights at Baylor. He made some, and I know it's college, but he made some plays. It was like he has four eyes.
Yeah, he's very talented. I'm pretty confident that he's going to be a really good player. I know a lot of Jet fans are like skeptical, but I don't see any reason not to believe in the guy. He's talented, and when he did play last year, he was good.
Okay. All right, before we're going to get to the trivia question, but we're going to, I guess, one other question I have, this is going to be called, I guess, make Ray roll his eyes at this. Okay, here we go.
That's not hard.
Let me take out my glasses, so we got
to. What quarter in what game will Mekhi Becton end up in the 10? The first time.
Marty's
talking
preseason. Marty's got to complain about.
I say the first game in the second quarter, he's going to be in the 10. That's my prediction.
Well, they better have a Big Ten though. It's going to be the Big Top.
This doesn't include preseason.
No.
Okay. Ralph.
Go ahead, Ralph.
I think it'll be like the 9th game, second quarter.
Okay, go ahead, Ray. When they get the buffet up, right?
Yeah, I'd say the 4th game.
You're brutal, Marty.
4th game and the midway through the 3rd.
Okay, all right.
But this is why we have 3 tackles who can start.
Listen, I hope he turns out to be Anthony Munez, and he's a Pro Bowl for the next 10 years. Really do.
By the way, Anthony Munoz is one of the Hall of Famers who said that Joe Klecko was.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is. And he's also a guy we passed up on because of his knee. And so we don't go to
Cincinnati. We passed on Ronnie a lot too. Because the great.
I don't know who we picked that.
Well, we could be here all night if we start getting into this discussion.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right, Ralph, repeat the trivia question as we the clock has.
Okay, so we all know that I see some guy on the street, he didn't know that Jamal Adams is the last Jet to be an All-Pro. Who was the last Jet before Jamal Adams to make All-Pro? Not Pro Bowl, but All-Pro, which is much better.
Ray, you want to give it a crack?
I'll go with Nick Mangold.
Oh wow, that's a good guess.
Probably wrong.
I'm going to say. Second thoughts, I don't even know if he ever made it. I'm going to say Mo Wilkerson.
Mo Wilkerson. Are you ready for this?
Oh, Lord.
The answer is Andre Roberts.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was going to say, don't tell me it's a punter, but okay.
Ralph, that's.
I forgot. Yeah.
He's a wide receiver.
And then we sent Buffalo the next season.
Good question. That's a good question, Ralph.
Really, I know it was kind of cruel, but I suppose. If we go with non-special teams guys, who was the one before that? I think it might be Revis, actually.
Revis?
It could be Revis.
Yeah, I think he made. Yeah, I think he made it in like 2015 or so. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Hey, Ralph, Ray knows the first game, I have to go to a baby shower. I'm gonna miss it. And wait, it gets better. Second game, I have to go to a wedding. I'm gonna miss it. My season doesn't start till the third game.
Really, who's
Uh,
your event planner?
I'll tell you afterwards. I mean, it's the
You need to
believe
start
me.
talking to your relatives about their.
Yeah, it's a contentious topic in this household. But anyway,
Sundays are out. Who
yeah.
gets married on a Sunday?
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Never mind.
It's like what can we do to bother Marty? You know, they didn't get Trevor Lawrence, so what else could we do?
Okay,
Look on the bright side, Marty. That'll probably be the game that Beckton goes into the 10th.
You're right. Well, I'm going to tape it. All right, we're going to wrap it up. And this for Jets. Oh, by the way, make sure you check our website, jetsrewind.com. Ray Clifford has worked really hard filling out the roster, the depth chart, and we're going to be adding more things. And you can sign up for on Twitter. I've been doing a lot of Twittering at Jets Rewind. And until next time, for Jets Rewind and Marty Shupak, Ray Clifford, and Ralph Sharega.